We are doing chapter 2, now segment 5. Okay. Yep, segment 5. Alright, chapter 2, segment 5. I know I keep making this about you. There is a level of self-accountability you must accept if you want changes. For many of us, however, we are accountable to others too. Pets are a huge cost to many. Any parent knows that children are super expensive, no matter how many meals you cook at home. And as parents age, they need housing and assistance. Here is the thing. You can love them, care deeply about them, and still let them know that your money is none of their business. To the extent that you pay your portion of a bill is all they need to know. They don't need to know you are trying a new investing strategy. They don't need to know you started going to therapy to help you through something. They don't need to know you ordered an extra scoop of guacamole. It is if your obligation is paid, then the rest is none of their business. I don't care if you love them. I don't care if they nag you. I simply don't care what makes them feel entitled to your money. It is none of their business. This is your journey. Your spouse doesn't get to say what you should do with your little extra. Your parents don't get to judge you for choosing something new. It is none of their business. If you want to talk about it, get a therapist or a CPA to talk money with. Gather a few selected money-minded friends and have a gathering once a month that no spouses or kids or parents are allowed to. Yes, you can talk about what bills you agree to pay, but beyond that, it is none of their business. Which means you must respect that beyond what bills you agree to pay is none of your business. Which means you must respect that beyond what bills they agree to pay is none of your business. Do not tell your kid they can't use their own money to go see movies. They might become a movie director one day. Do not tell your spouse they need to spend more money on date nights instead of poker nights. They might love socializing with their friends. Do not tell your widowed mom she can't buy too much. At her bankruptcy recovery group, she might meet the love of her life. It is their life, so let them live it, and let them fail. Stop bailing them out. Let them endure the consequences of their choices. Now, if you're thinking, well, what about suicide or beatings? Just put my book down, right now. I am making valid points here, and you do not have my permission to keep reading if you are just going to create extremes as a way of validating your insistence to ignore me. Still with me? Awesome. Let's continue. Humans are social animals, but codependency is toxic and causes great pain. You are an individual. While you share time with others and share some bills with others, ultimately they are not allowed into certain areas of your life. That's for you alone. It's not rude, nor selfish, nor evil. Those are just guilt trips manipulative people use to get their way. If you don't have a checking account of your own, then open one. The amount for bills can go into the shared, but anything goes into your private account. Don't give your spouse the password to sign in, or your parents copies of your bank statements. It's none of their business what you do with that portion of your money. The only other person who needs full access to your finances is your accountant. Beyond that, it's none of their business. Love them, spend time with them, pay for the bills you agreed to, and keep the rest private. This is your life, and even if no one likes to talk about it, parents die, spouses can divorce, kids go out on their own. You have to have something that is yours to enjoy in life. What would I call this? Keep your body private? Yeah, that's what's coming to mind. Keep your money private. Keep your money private. Keep your money private. Alright, Chapter 2, Segment 6. It is said that for most people, their housing is their biggest expense. I've seen it go many different ways. Some people have a car payment bigger than their house payment. Some people have a modest monthly payment, but are paying so much in interest that they will never pay off the mortgage. Also, there are people who live in company housing or with someone rent-free. Whatever your situation, it is important to evaluate it. Without rushing out and changing things, just do a few thought experiments. What if you lived out of a van and traveled the country? What money triggers come up at the thought of that? Would you buy a trailer and tow it with your pickup just to get out of the city? How about a huge mansion by the ocean? How are you feeling when you imagine vacuuming the huge area rugs with the smell of the water in the air? But remember the 1% effort rule. Put a little bit more effort into your thought experiments. That van and trailer and mansion will need maintenance. What will that cost you? Imagine bad weather, traffic issues in the area, and insurance costs. Really picture yourself in the day-to-day of the experience. A mansion might be amazing until your legs get sore from walking up all those marble stairs every day. A camper and trailer sound amazing until it needs to go in the shop or someone hits you and totals the vehicle. What then? These are all possibilities to consider before you even check your credit score or browse loan rates. That isn't to say you won't still choose a huge mansion. After the thought experiment, you may realize you also want flood insurance, a maid to do the vacuuming, and strong sunscreen because you'll be tanning more often. This life is yours if you let it be. Evaluate your current living. Can you make small changes to improve your satisfaction? If parking is always a headache, can you put cement down to widen the driveway? If it's always crowded in the bathroom, have you considered updating the sink in the garage? Are you only stuck when you tell yourself you can't do anything more? Your money sign will show you how to use money in a way that you are able to build the future you want. But what you build is all on you. It is your responsibility to choose what you are building, otherwise it won't matter how much I help you budget. Lottery winners get millions, and within years they are at the same level or sometimes even worse. They got the money but didn't know what they needed to build. Imagine winning the big jackpot. Go look up what it's at and come back. Got that number? Awesome. Now assume that half of it goes to taxes. Still a good-sized number. Now take out half of that number for your income taxes next year. What money triggers came up for you? Jot them down, then come back. Now that you have the amount you'd actually put in your bank, would you stay where you're living? If not, how much would it cost to buy a new place without debt? What does that leave you with? These thought experiments help you uncover money triggers. Triggers. Discover actual desires and save you time and money. Do you get stressed fighting for street parking in your uptown apartment? Maybe moving a few miles away with guaranteed parking is a better move. Is your house so big that you don't even visit 3 of the rooms during a whole year? Maybe you need to downsize. Observe what your living situation is doing to your day-to-day life. Your eating, your working, and your living habits have a profound impact on your finances. Before you create a budget, you need to create a life. Money will never replace enjoying your life. I'm just going to call this housing because it's the only thing that came to mind. Alright, Chapter 2, Segment 7, and this is also a story, okay. That looks pretty, Samantha complimented the hot dress Susan was holding up. Red is a power color. It lets everyone know I mean business, replied Susan. I agree. I always wear red to auditions and get noticed for it. Samantha wandered over to another rack of designer dresses. Stephanie and Sally were looking at price tags and exchanging disgusted looks. How can you justify spending so much on a single dress? That's more than I spend all year on the kids' clothes, questioned Stephanie. Susan and Samantha laughed with pride. When I go to an audition, I'm competing with dozens, sometimes even hundreds of other women. Most of them can't afford a designer dress, so when I enter a room with confidence, the other women have already unconsciously accepted defeat. It's basic psychology, replied Samantha nonchalantly. Good point. And when I go to these business meetings, it's mostly men. Sure, they have women working for them, but the actual owners are usually men who don't take me serious. if I show up in jeans and a shirt. But when I strut in designer heels and a matching dress, they have to take me serious, added Susan. It's an investment. You clearly don't understand what an investment is, then, Izzy approached with an armful of green dresses. Nonsense. I have a degree in general business. An investment is anything you do to increase your business, defended Susan. Don't want it to go back screen on me. Okay. Defended Susan. Yeah, I agree. When I get a modeling job, it always pays for the cost of the dress, so it made me money in the end. That's an investment, chimed Samantha. Izzy slowly shook her head. You poor ladies, you sound like zombies. They all laughed. Okay, Miss Smarty, what is your definition of an investment? Challenged Sally. An investment is when your money gives you a return, stated Izzy confidently. You mean if I return the dress, then it's an investment? I've never returned anything in my life, replied Samantha. No, dear. She means that your money makes more money. My husband's always going on about his return rates from his stocks, explained Stephanie. How does money make more money? I mean, it's money. You use it to buy things. That's it, stated Samantha. The zombies really do have you. Izzy pretended to be afraid of the group. They all giggled. But seriously, money is for buying things. You are correct. However, you can buy things that make you money. For example, many years ago, I worked 3 jobs, never had a day off for 2 years, and I put as much as I could aside. Once I had enough money, I bought a duplex. I lived in one side and rented the other side. So while I spent money, the rented side made me money. Hence, it was an investment. Izzy was very happy with herself. What's a duplex, and how does one live in it if someone else is renting it? Barked Sally. Izzy chuckled. A duplex is a building with 2 houses in it. Think of it like a really small apartment complex that has only 2 units. So it's a 2-bedroom apartment? Asked Susan. Oh my goodness, Izzy was beginning to get flustered. No, it was 2 separate houses on the same spot of land. I owned both units, but only lived in one side. So, are you like an undercover millionaire or something? Inquired Sally. Izzy just gave a mysterious grin and walked off towards the dressing room. I'm confused, blurted Samantha and Stephanie at the same time. I still say these dresses are an investment for my business, and no one will convince me otherwise, declared Susan. The ladies finished their shopping, then went to lunch. Though no one brought it up again, Susan began to question if she'd spent her money wisely today, while Samantha wondered if she should start returning her clothes instead of giving them to her sisters and friends. I'm going to say the girls go dress shopping. 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 Okay. Alright, Chapter 2, Segment 8. What makes you feel alive and not even think about bills? When was the last time you did something and were completely engaged? Nothing else was on your mind but the task in front of you. Could be gardening, moving the soil, loosening the roots of a plant, totally absorbed in the moment, or maybe reading a book that instantly transported your thoughts to another place and time. Humans are happiest when they fully engage in an activity. For an athlete, they call it in the zone or the flow. I'm sure you've heard the term runner's high. For some, it's when they're painting or drawing. They are fully focused on the project and completely engaged. Perhaps it's putting together miniatures. Your attention is solely on the intricacies of linking the pieces. For some, it's woodworking, finding the grain, working with the piece to make your neck scrape until a work of art comes out of it. People who love their job say that they have never worked a day in their life. That's because they're fully engaged in the activities. They love connecting with strangers, hearing different stories, and the rush of closing a new client. When was the last time you fully engaged in something? There is more to life than just buying things or making a return on your investment. Life is for living. So what makes you feel alive? What activities leave you feeling content and fulfilled, even after you have done them for a long time? For some people, it's sitting in a lawn chair listening to the wind. Find what brings you contentment. Before you can know what budget to make, you have to understand what life you're building. too many people just push this step aside and keep chasing the next paycheck, never really content, always flustered, and wishing they could just be happy. Our actions set us up for our experiences. Anyone could, and many do, waste years of their life bitching and listing off all the activities that they hate. But you aren't one of the zombies anymore. You know there is more to life than endlessly paying bills. Maybe you like to sew cute little vests for your dog, or make delicious character-shaped grilled cheese sandwiches for the kids. What activities bring you satisfaction, joy, contentment? Perhaps it's grilling the perfect baked potato, or bowling better than your neighbor on your monthly guys' night. It could be helping your girlfriends choose just the right shade of foundation, or making cabinets for your nephew to paint. There is something, most likely many things, that you would enjoy devoting your time and effort towards. Maybe putting googly eyes on rocks and creating rock sheep for your gnome guardian to look after in the backyard. It could be collecting the eggs from the henhouse every morning while you listen to the birds cluck. Might be outlining the next big client presentation, or choosing fonts for your birthday invites this year. There are so many incredible activities for us to be engaging in. Don't lose sight of that. Money is useless if there is nothing worth loving for in your day to there's nothing worth loving in your day to day. I need to take out that. Money is useless if there is nothing worth loving in your day to day. Money should be in the background of your day, not the entire focus of your existence. Would you like to see how many cocktails you could make with a whole watermelon? Perhaps repaint the garage just to see if you still have some skills with a brush. Maybe it's just walking the neighborhood to see how much it's changed over the past few years. Engage with life again. Ooh, I like that. Engage with life again. Engage with life again. I'm debating if I should have the again, but I think I should because I'm talking to people about money, and especially with the people who are burnt out. I think that would really hit a trigger. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to trigger you people. I'm trying to make you better. Maybe it's just walking the neighborhood to see how much it's changed over the past few years. Engage with life again. Embrace the little activities that make such a huge impact on your happiness. I know I'm spending a ton of time on you before talking about money, but let's face it. When was the last time you spent this much time focusing on you? Isn't it time someone showed you that you're more important than money? I believe that you are. Alright, that is segment 8, and we are almost to the 20 minutes, so we're gonna stop this editing session. You guys are awesome. Like, if you actually hear, this is the reality of what it takes. It's boring, it's slow, it's mundane, it's all over the place, but if you really, truly are engaged with what you're doing, it doesn't matter the boredom, because you're not bored.